I am excited for today's review because behind me is a shape that I really like. It is a station wagon. This is the Opel Astra Sports Tourer, which is a traditional station wagon in all the senses, all the right senses of the word. This is obviously a car that you buy because you do not want an SUV or a crossover or anything. You want a traditionally shaped wagon, and that it certainly is. You can see the low, sleek roofline and the sort of elongated stretch of the car. Last year I reviewed the Toyota Corolla station wagon, and that is a similar recipe as this one, which I really like because I'm a station wagon man. I used to drive a Skoda Superb station wagon for years before I got my current Xpeng G6. And it's a size and it's a shape of car that I really like. And I can already tell you that there will be a lot of enthusiasm from me for this shape. Because these days cars all need to get higher and easier to get in and all that good stuff. But that does mean that cars get bigger, bulkier, and they all go through the same wind tunnel, so they all look the same. So it is almost refreshing to see the Astra Sports Tourer in this shape. Now, to stay in tune with the times, we have the electric version with us today. So we have a 51 kilowatt hour battery pack underneath, and we have about 150 horsepower from that electric drivetrain that we know from basically all the Stellantis products. It is a familiar drivetrain and it's a fine drivetrain, and we're going to see how it works in this package. So let's have a look inside. Let's have a look in the back as well to see if this shape actually makes sense, and of course go for a drive. Obviously a little cockpit tour of this Opel Astra, and the theme here is simplicity and decent design. We'll get to that as we go along, but it's really nice, almost refreshingly boring to be in a cabin that is not trying to reinvent the wheel, but is just doing things right. And it's really nice. And it's little things like the controls and the steering wheel and the way the ventilation works and so on that we'll get to in a second. But a lot of things in this cabin make sense, and that makes the learning curve getting into this car pretty much non-existent. And I think that is really worth a compliment to Opel in this case, because it's really hard to design a cabin that just makes complete sense most of the time. So that's good, and that's something a lot of car makers can learn from, because it's not necessary to reinvent the wheel for no reason other than to be innovative. It's also just nice to have a cabin that just works. So let's make our usual round. Starting here on the left with simple window controls and a joystick for the mirrors. 10 points. Excellent. Nothing crazy going on. That is how you want it. Nice big door bin, but no felt or any lining inside, so it does get a bit scratchy down there. In general, when you get below knee level, the materials get quite hard. Also here in the middle console. Is that an issue? I don't think so. Obviously this car is at a certain price point that warrants that kind of material use, and it's almost a necessity, I think. And in driving this car for a week now, it hasn't bothered me in any way, shape or form that the materials get a bit harder down low. So the door is good. The design of the doors you can see here is also kind of nice. The lines and the panels sort of break each other up nicely, making it not just one giant black slab, but there's some squidgy up here. Then there's this aluminium looking plastic. There's some fabric here. Also the elbow point is nice and soft-ish. So yeah, all around it's pretty good, I think. So it's a nice seating position for me as the driver in front of this round steering wheel. So no squircles, no triangles, no nothing, just a round steering wheel. Nice and simple. Feels good in the hand too. And it is also not too busy, with two button clusters on the right hand for your media and your systems, left for your cruise control and your driving aids. All is well there. Two simple stalks as well, right for your wiper settings, left for your indicators and your lights. So nice and simple, everything going well. Except the fact that these buttons on the button clusters are piano black. So that is constantly going to be smudgy, which is a bit of an oversight, not necessary, but I think we are seeing more and more manufacturers getting rid of that. So hopefully next generation Opel and Stellantis products won't have those anymore either. Looking through the steering wheel, we have the digital driver's display. Everything really you can expect. It's a familiar Opel system. And it's in this sort of elongated one slab of plastic, making it look like one giant display, which is kind of nice. It looks quite stylish, I think, because it's integrated into the dash. It's not just an iPad slap on top of it. So that looks good. And it's pretty basic. It's nothing too crazy or fancy, but it does the job pretty well. If we go to the central screen right away, it is a familiar Opel system. So you have some pages and some tiles and some unnecessary animations that sort of slow the whole thing down a bit. It's not the fastest system in the world. It's certainly not the most comprehensive system either, but it does get the job done. You got navigation by TomTom. Everything sort of works. You know, it's nothing to really write home about. Size-wise also, you know, modern day systems, especially in Chinese cars, are 4 times the size. But, you know, it's definitely workable. And if you connect your phone to it, obviously, you can use that. So it's fine. It gets the job done. Underneath there is some physical shortcut buttons to go to home, go to your ADAS systems, or go to your Klima menu. So that's nice. Also physical buttons for your steering wheel heating and your seat heating on both sides. So that's good. Nice shortcuts if you want to do something in those menus. Then physical controls for your AC. Awesome. Simple button for up and down temperature, up and down fan speed, demisting, AC on and on. Just this is how we want it to be. It doesn't even need a screen because you can see it in the big screen. Perfect. Excellent. Well done. Especially in combination with the manual control of your vents. Interestingly though, that the central and the passenger vents are horizontal and they just have one sort of nipple in the middle that you can move around. And the one here on the driver's side is vertical for some reason. And that means it can't have the little pokey thingy in the middle. It has to have a slider on the left for up and down and a slider underneath for left and right. Not really sure who thought of that, but okay, it is what it is. But it is physical controls, so that is good. What's not good is the central tunnel, which is one giant slab of piano black. It is such a disaster. I keep on complaining about it. It is beyond smudgy all the time. It is a complete headache. If I accidentally had this car with this piano black in it, I would immediately sticker over it because it is such a disaster. But it is your familiar Stellantis central tunnel with the drive selector, your driving modes, your parking brake, some cup holders behind this little slider here, and a little cubby for your key in my case. Before you get to the split opening armrest that is actually quite shallow but deep enough for some whatever parking cards or stuff you have laying around in your car. Especially because we have a normal glove box here. We also, you can see my phone laying here, maybe have a little cubby here. Also closable, which is excellent. I really like closable cup holders and closable cubbies because then you don't have dust and hair and peanuts and everything else falling in. Down here we have a wireless charging pad, a USB and a 12-volt socket for your charging needs. So that's quite nice to chuck your phone in, to put your sunglasses in, and also just to have things out of the way that if somebody looks into your car, it looks empty. The seats are nothing too spectacular, but they're fine. They work good. They have electric controls for the driver, manual for everybody else. So that's okay. And this sort of grayish fabric, it's the same trick as they put on the door, breaking up the panels, making it look a bit more fancy. So that's nice. And overall, like I said, it's a very pleasant and calm place to be, because it's not trying to be fancy, it is just getting the job done. And that's excellent. I think that's really well judged for this kind of car. The view out is good too. There's enough light coming in despite the fact we don't have a panoramic roof here, and the interior is all tints of black and gray. I'm in gray too, obviously. So, you know, you would expect light issues, but it's not bad, at least not here in the front, and the rear is not too bad either, to be honest. So, all round, it's pretty good. There's nothing really to complain about here, besides the piano black. This middle tone, it's such a disaster. There's nothing to complain about. There's also no wow factor anywhere. It's not that you get in and you're like, wow, this is amazing. There's no like in-your-face feature. It's all just functional and it works. And I think that's a really job well done. It's a relaxing cabin to be in that is just functional. So it's nice. And I think that speaks to the Opel ethos of Germanness, maybe even, to just get the job done properly. So that's good. I appreciate that. Yeah, obviously a little bit of driving as well in this Astra Sports Tourer. Currently we are on the highway, as you can see, and this is a place obviously where a station wagon feels right at home. The first thing you notice when you get in is how low you sit. It's so nice. All these crossovers and SUVs and everything in between. I mean, obviously you sit a bit higher, so you have a bit more overview, but sitting low down, close to the ground, also gives you that good connection to the car right away, which is nice. I quite like it. Like I said in the beginning, I drove a Skoda Superb diesel station wagon for the past 10 years before I bought my Xpeng. And yeah, that low to the ground, connected feeling with the car, station feeling is really nice. And this Astra Sports Tourer gives me the same kind of vibe, if you want to call it that way. That said, obviously crossovers and SUVs, you sit a bit higher, you have a little bit more overview. It is something to get used to. You got to recalibrate a little bit sitting this low with your mirrors and with the way you look over the car. But once you've done that, I quite like this position and the way of driving. And of course you get efficiency gains with a lower car in general as well. I say we are comfortable on the highway. Underneath we have the electric powertrain from Stellantis with about 150 horsepower. Here in the Netherlands that is perfectly reasonable and very livable because high speeds here we don't really have, and the distances are not that far either. So with the 51 kilowatt hour battery pack that we have in this car, you can do most of your driving. If I look at my readout display, I got 45% battery left and I have 144 kilometers to go. So easy 300, probably around 350 if you're careful. And that is more than enough. I think you can do more than 90% of your driving within that range. And the 2 or 3 times a year that you do drive a bit further, yeah, sure, you gotta take some charging and planning into account, but I think that is a fair trade-off because this powertrain as it is familiar and it is reliable enough and it's efficient enough that you can do basically all your driving with it. Could this car use 100 more horsepower? Absolutely. It's a pleasantly handling car. It's a car that's grippy when you want it to be. So, I do think the car could use another 100 horsepower for sure. And that would certainly increase the driving fun, if you want to call it that way, and capabilities as well. Because obviously with 150 horsepower, overtaking, merging, and those kind of things, they don't become cumbersome, but you have less options available to you than you would when you had 100 horsepower more. But in all reason, most of the time it is more than fine. As long as you don't take it to Germany and expect to start bullying Audis, here in the Netherlands especially, it is fine. And it's very enjoyable to drive your kids to swimming, to do your groceries with the space in the back, IKEA, shopping, go to the tip, all those kind of things. It's just nice to do that electric. And let's be honest, 90% of your driving is in and around your house. So as far as that goes, I think this is a good drivetrain. If you are somebody that needs range or has range anxiety or doesn't want to do anything electric at all, there is hybrid versions available as well. And there's even a full petrol option for those die-hard customers. And I think if you are considering this car or any Opel for that matter, it is nice that you have the powertrain options available in basically all models. And you can pick what is best for you. So that requires a good and honest look at your driving behavior in order to fit the right powertrain. So here in the back of the Opel Astra Sports Tourer, we hope to find some of that Sports Tourer magic. But I have to say it is not the most spacious area here in the back. If you've ever been in a Passat or Skoda Superb or that kind of vehicle, you immediately notice that it's a larger vehicle. So the Astra still has to deal with its own size limitations. So I am sitting with my knees firmly pressed against the seat in my driving position, which is not too much of an issue because I have room for my feet underneath and the back of the seat is soft and has an indentation for my knees. So that really makes all the difference. All those ideas of hard back seats is craziness. So I can sit here with my 183 and 90 kilos in relative comfort. Obviously I don't want to drive to ski holiday like this. But the seat in my driving position is quite far back and can certainly go forward a bit more without it being uncomfortable. My kids are 8 and 11, they fit here no issues. If you have child seats, like those big bulky seats, then I can imagine it gets a bit problematic also with kids. Which is interesting because obviously this type of vehicle lends itself for a family vehicle, but it's not as spacious as you would expect. So do bear in mind that it's still an Astra and it's not a larger vehicle. The materials get slightly worse, so slightly more scratchy back here, but overall the seats and stuff is the same material as in the front, so that's nice. Pretty featureless back here. Got one USB down there, only one, which is a wild decision as well, because if you have 2 kids sitting here, one USB, but okay. And I have window controls and that is about it. So not even seat pockets or anything, no central armrest here. and that is really all you get back here. There's nothing going wrong, but there's also, you know, nothing really to talk about. You can see it in the shot a little bit. I have some headroom, but it does get quite dark up here because, yeah, there's no panoramic roof. The whole roof is black, and the windows here are not huge, and also the rear window is not very big. And we have this sort of partial shelf here that is also completely black. So yeah, there's a lot of black and grayness back here, making it slightly claustrophobic. But not a huge issue because the contact to the front is nice. The seats are not massive at all and also quite low, like they're only this high. So even for kids, it's easy to see through the car and have contact with the front. So that's nice. What's not so nice, and I'll take this camera and turn it around, is that there is this strange flap here, and it's obviously also on the other side over there, and there's one further back there, and also on my side here over there. You would think, oh, if I peel that open there's probably a coat hook or something, but no. If you peel this open, it's the wiring harness is back there, and it's the same for the one in the rear. And if we go to this side, it's no different. It's the wiring harnesses. I have never seen this before, and I have no clue why this needs to be. Why do you need to access the wiring harness over there, especially on two sides and on two spots? That is wild. Maybe there's some kind of like power mod you can make, powering something on the roof. I have no idea, but that's baffling. If anybody knows why that's there, I'll be happy to hear. Please write it in the comments. So yeah, that's the back seats of the Opel Astra. Sitting here though, it is a very pleasant way to travel. The car is quiet. There's a little bit of wind noise from the mirror, but not too much. There's a little bit of tire noise as well. But all around, it's a pleasant place to be and cover distance. I mentioned the interior being very functional and very calm, and that really comes to life here when you drive long distance. That it's not distracting, it's all within reach, and everything sort of works intuitively, which is very nice. And it makes it pleasant to travel in this car, especially with the comfortable seats. And of course you got that big boot, throw your kids in the back, put a ski box on the roof, and off you go to ski holiday. And I think that's a nice concept, that you have the option of space when you need it, and in the meantime you can still drive your kids to swimming without a vehicle that is so big that you can't put it anywhere. Because it is not an enormous car all around, so that is actually fine. Is there anything to fundamentally complain about in this car? Well, I suppose you can call it a tad boring. If you look on the outside, it's not all that spectacular. If you look on the inside, it is all various shades of gray. So, you know, that's not very flamboyant or anything. And they could have really done some things with some different color stitching or a few different panels if they wanted to. But on the other hand, it is all calm, it's functional, it works, it's well put together. And I think that is also commendable, that even though it's not flamboyant, it's all very solid and reliable. And I think that is also the Opel touch that they've put in this car. So if you're looking for something more exciting, then this might not be for you. But if you want, you know, functional, reliable, well put together interior and a car that just does the job for you, then I think this is a good option. That's all I got for you in this video. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Sub to the channel, of course, is always appreciated. There's a lot more to come for the rest of 2025, so stay tuned for that. The Xpeng ownership series is continuing, and there's a lot more cool cars and trips coming. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers!